so dirty yet keeping it clean. Where do you go when you're a sterile processing pro to have conversations that no one else is having? How do you access expert subject matter? Well, look no further, got a digital gathering. We're so clean, yeah, like beyond clean. For all the clean freaks out there listening, we're having discussions and talking info, getting bigger with over 1 million podcast downloads. Splish splash, we're doing a thing for the clean freaks. We're heavy on the scene. We got it going on, running 5 years strong. We're fighting so dirty yet keeping it clean.
What's up, clean freaks? Tank Balch here, and have we got a conversation for you today? It's not just going to be me, okay? Don't worry about it. I've got guests who are coming into the studio. We're going to be talking about Beyond Clean coming to Canada, and a big event that's coming up this fall, maybe a month and a half away, and we're going to talk about when that is, what that is, how you can get involved if you're up there in the Great North. And we're kind of opening up if anyone tuning in has questions about what's it like on the other side of the border doing sterile processing. For those of y'all that are tuning in from the U.S., what's it like to do MDR in Canada? So you can drop those questions and comments maybe in the feed as we have time throughout this conversation. We'll try to answer a couple of those. But just so y'all know, since the beginning of the Beyond Clean show way back in 2017, Canada has been a super fan. We've had a tremendous audience all along the way, but finally it took almost 6 years to get us to say, okay, let's get boots on the ground in Canada. And that's going to happen this fall. So we're going to talk a little bit about the when, what, why, how, and who in just a moment. So if you're tuning in, we'd love to know, number one, that you're tuning in. So drop a comment below and tell us where you're tuning in from. And then, like I said, if you've got any questions for our Canadian guest about MDR, the challenges they're facing, the opportunities, maybe not ask them about the pay. I don't think anyone's proud about the pay in any of our industries, but maybe so. Who knows? We could be surprised. But anyways, yeah, please drop that in the comment section below. We are live if you're tuning in live, so we'll address as many of those as we can over the next 20, 30 minutes. All right, enough from me. Let's welcome our guest here into the studio. So what's up, Ryan and Stacy? Welcome to Beyond Clean.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hello, glad to be here.
So let's maybe start here with some introductions. Who are y'all and what do you do in MDR? Maybe we'll start with Ryan.
Sure. My name's Ryan. I've been part of MDRAO for the last 4 or 5 years. Recently just became their interim executive director. So kind of just looking over a few things and trying to manage this conference.
Awesome. Welcome. And Stacy, what about you?
Hi, I'm Stacy Gillen, and technically my role is like a director of communications for the Medical Device Reprocessing Board. I've been focusing a lot on some little projects that promote more education to recruit more technicians. As we all know, we could always use more. I myself have been MDR tech for 16 years now.
Okay. And as y'all see below, we've got some Canadians already tuning in.
Hi.
There. So love to see that, which it brings us, to the reason that we're all here, which is that event that's coming up. And I'm wondering, for those of us who may be new to this event, this is not a new event. It sounds like you have it on a regular schedule. So what is this that's happening next month in September? And how do folks find out more about it?
Okay, so every 2 years we do the big annual or semi-annual conference in Toronto. And our mission is to provide best practice and education in the medical device reprocessing department. And through that is promoting education and optimal standards of practice. So this coming September, we have our big conference coming up. We usually aim for about 40 to 60 vendor shows. We have numerous keynote speakers, as well as separate workshops. We usually get a very, very good turnout. And keep in mind that not only is this conference for Ontario, focused on the Ontario technicians. All of Canada can come, as well as the states can come as well. So you're more than welcome.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a great event this year. We've got a lot of speaker sessions, like Stacey said. We have a variety of different things. We have some round panel discussions. We have some keynotes. We have some live workshops, which I think we got a good reception from last year. So really trying to vary the type of learning experiences instead of just sitting in a chair for the entire day. So we're trying to incorporate some new learning types and models this year. In addition to obviously a full vendor day, we can learn a lot from meeting the top vendors in the country, and they can kind of work and get face to face with a lot of the delegates that are attending.
And so, as far as the pulse in the industry, at least where you are, Ryan, in this space, obviously you're creating education that's supposed to be timely and going to be dealing with folks or with issues that folks are dealing with on a regular basis. So what are those things that are kind of at the top of everyone's radar today that they should expect education around at this event?
Good question.
I can help you out with that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So obviously we have a different theme every 2 years, and this theme is really focusing on the decontamination portion of the sterile processing. So although we all have trials and tribulations that we deal with on a daily within the department, our main focus is disinfection for this particular conference. We have focused on endoscopy in the past. We've focused on sterilization in the past. This one, our key focus is the decontamination area.
So I think you mentioned this before, but it's open to anyone.
It is, yeah.
So if they want to come find out, like me, I love to go to websites and just kind of read about it on my own time. So what's the URL for folks to go visit to track this down?
It would be www.mdrao.ca. Ryan and his team at the office are continuously updating once we get new keynote speakers, new sessions. Jed is on top of all that in revisiting and re-promoting.
Sure. That's the main organization site. We have a conference-specific website. Yeah. It's conference.mdrao.ca. We have lots of information there regarding speakers and sessions, vendor information, and also different options to register. It will be a great event this year. Stacey kind of touched on decontamination. We also kind of touching on innovation in a way. We have different aspects. Some speakers are talking about different workflows of how they enacted a totally different process system flow within their department. We have another organization that kind of talks about O365 and kind of the Microsoft platform and how they use that into their system. And just a lot of different topics on that front. It was actually a really good, wide variety. We actually had to turn down a few speakers because I was surprised. A lot of people were really, really excited this year.
I love that. Well, so Stacey, I know we got in contact, a couple of months ago, maybe a little bit more than that. So
I think it was back in June. Yeah. May, June. Yeah.
Oh, that recent. All right. Great. Go. Well, that makes me feel better in the turnaround time.
It's okay. We've both had busy summers. It's okay.
Usually when folks reach out to me, it's been months since I finally get back to them. So that's great. But why the invite? Like, why were you interested in bringing Beyond Clean to Canada? Obviously, you've got a lot of great education and a lot of stuff going on, but why us?
Why you? Okay, so first of all, I have always followed your podcasts, your YouTube videos, and my thing is, I know both America and Canada, we have different standards, but they're very similar at the end of the day. And my thing is yes, the States can watch us. Yes, we can watch the States. We can't always execute both ways in our industry because of the standards. But at the end of the day, we can learn from each other and we can grow and we can come up with better innovations, better techniques, and better ways to keep the patients safe at the end of the day, in my opinion. It's more so long story short, it's learning from one another.
Yeah.
To really dip our toes, like you said, into the Canadian soil, into the American soil, and grow and learn.
I really loved the initial invite to, and I know we've had a couple of calls now with your team and with the board on the planning side. But what a lot of folks don't know is, hey, it doesn't hurt to ask, to reach out and invite and say, can we do something fun together? Even if it's a conference in this setting, great. If it's a podcast, but getting at that felt need, Ryan, that I kind of mentioned before, of what are the frontline technicians? What are these department leaders? What are they hungry for? What questions do they have? What do they want to see out of education and content in this space? And so, what we're really excited about in coming to this event, and from our team, it's going to be Lindsay Brown and Bobby Parker coming to be boots on the ground. I'm going to be making a virtual appearance at the event as well, hopefully. And but yeah, we're just excited about bringing the passion, that energy that's been going on the U.S. side with Beyond Clean to Canada, because we know part of the success of all this has been all of these conversations are happening every day, Ryan, in the departments, at these standard meetings. All of that can and probably should be coming into social media to extend the transparency, to increase the dialogue, to prompt more of these innovations in the space. And we've seen that happen time and time again since the last 6 years. And I'm really excited about seeing that happen in person now at your event in September.
I mean, it's great that you bring that up, because that's one of the main reasons we really kind of have been watching Beyond Clean and wanted to partner with the organization, is just the tremendous community that you have. It's not just a podcast and talk about relevant things. It's the engagement that you have with a lot of your members. People are asking you questions, and just building the following that Beyond Clean has. It's very, very inspiring, and kind of something that a lot of nonprofit organizations and a lot of organizations, regardless of where you are, can really follow Beyond Clean in terms of how you did that. And it's great to bring you up, and we can kind of learn and information sharing, just as Stacy said. But it's really inspiring, and we actually saw how Beyond Clean. Your talk at HSPA, the big conference in Nashville in April, and we thought, well, wow, we have to try really hard to try to get you up
to do something. Yeah,
it was great the way that not just the delegates, but a lot of the vendors and a lot of the people that are walking by, everyone wanted to be a part of it, and I saw the excitement. I thought this would definitely be great to have part of at our conference.
And these platforms that we have to do these things is amazing nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and just before this live stream, we're doing an interview for one of our upcoming podcast seasons, and it's such an awesome experience to give voice. Maybe not even give voice, to give a platform for the voices out there. Yeah, because there's tremendous ideas, there's tremendous passion all across the globe in our space, and the fact that we've been able now to get a whole bunch of people together, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of passion, all the cool technology and all the different platforms through social media, but then to leverage that for good and in some sense get out of the way and let all those voices continue. Every single year, we're getting new technicians, we're getting new leaders, getting new innovators come to the space, and really being intentional about platforming those new voices at the same time that we're platforming the well-known educators, the folks that we all like to hear from, year after year. But continuing that cycle of growth has just been very, very cool and encouraging to see. And again, this is big for us on the Beyond Clean side, because we haven't done a lot of international work outside of just broadcasting out through social and through the podcast. But as many folks know and have seen, coming up on a year ago now, we spun off Beyond Clean UK and Ireland. And so we're doing content and education in this space. They had their first virtual conference in the spring of this year. And then now we're coming over to Canada here next month and just see what happens, see what kind of conversations happen, see who's inspired and what kind of energy comes out of that. And who knows what'll be next. But I do know something, Stacey, that's going to be next.
What's that?
Is we're going to be doing some videos with you
We
on some
are.
various topics. Yeah,
Yes.
so talk about that. What do you have in mind for this?
Well, first, I have 3 that are in the works right now. Thanks to you, I've really had to learn how to edit videos.
Sorry.
So, no, that's okay. That's okay, because nowadays it's something you need to know to survive, I swear. So my 3 topics that I'm working on right now are just proper communication with the OR and time due diligence between getting instrumentation up that's needed. Another one that's in the works of being edited is endoscopy care. I recently went to a hospital about a month ago and did some filming there because I absolutely adore their endoscopy clinic and their cabinets. Something I never thought I'd say in my life, but they're beautiful.
You adore the
So
cabinets.
I adore those cabinets so much. So I chose that hospital to go do my filming at. And sorry, what was the other one? The other one's kind of just going to be a fun one. I kind of just don't really want to give much to it.
That's all right.
It takes us out of
Surprise
the
us.
MDRD department, and it's more of a public view as to what we do. Do you know who we are? So they're coming. They are coming.
Great.
And I look very much forward to sharing them.
Yeah, so those will be accessible. We'll probably, push those out to social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
I'm hoping to have like at least 2 of them off to you by month's end.
Okay, wonderful.
Because I did have to ask for a little bit of help with editing from a company.
So, totally understandable. Well, that's an important call out too. I think what we have learned as an industry over the last 6 or 7 years that, the ideas, the insights, the experience, that's what takes years to glean and to get from our work on the front lines. But it also takes years sometimes to learn how to effectively share those insights through all these various technological platforms. Video is not easy. Like writing articles is not easy. Hosting events is not easy. So all those things have to be learned. No. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And it's like the generation coming up now, like our children, it's like second nature to them.
Right.
And now, like, they're going to be pristine. I promise.
Okay. So Ryan, it just kind of in clarifying some maybe not confusion, but folks just may not know and how y'all do credentialing and certification in Canada. That's a question I know we get on a regular basis. Stacey, I think you might have answered a question for someone just last week that came in.
I did, yes. You hooked me up with one of your colleagues. Yep.
So, like, how would you explain that to an outsider looking in? Like, how do you do certification? Is it required? Who provides it? Those kinds of things.
Good question. I'll just start a little bit and I'll send it over to Stacey. So right now, everything is run through the Canadian Standards Association of Ontario. They're kind of they're doing a lot of the credentials for the various different fields throughout the country. And what we do is MDRAO has a certification program in MDR, and we offer an online course. And things really exploded during COVID, especially when people were looking for other ways of learning and professional development. And then we also offer a recertification program. Roughly every 5 years or every 2,000 hours, hospitals are required to recertify just to keep your knowledge current. And we're fortunate enough to have that program and offer it online.
So you have to go through the entire recertification. So it's not like you do continuing education credits to keep your certification up. You actually got to go through the whole credentialing process again.
No, not the entire process again, but go ahead, Stacey.
I was just saying, like, through the MDRAO certification, there is a rewrite certification. Under the CSA standards is what we follow. If it's not a recertification, you are required to have like the CEU credits that you guys use. We have to have 150 recognized education hours every 5 years to keep our recertification. That is hospital determined. Some hospitals may say that they want you to take the rewrite as opposed to the 150 hours. But it's all under their umbrella. Standards that we follow, yes, it's 150 hours, but the hospitals could be a little bit more strict and say, no, I want you to have a rewritten certification. To get that certification, like Ryan touched base with, the MDRAO is one of the only non-for-profit organizations that do provide a course. Like he said, it's all online. It is CSA recognized. The CSA recognized lists are only few. That doesn't say you cannot go to a college and take the sterile processing course. It's just the difference between that is you could always go get CSA certified after college as well. However, if your college does not fall on that list, you're required 4,000 hours before you can write the CSA certification. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So, but if your college or our MDRAO course does fall on that list, we can write our CSA certification as soon as we finish the course.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes, at the end of the day, you have to be college certified or MDRAO certified. So.
Okay. Yeah. That's such an interesting conversation. Honestly, that could probably be its own interview because there's so many nuances to that.
There are so many different. Yes, there are.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I want to ask Ryan too. You kind of mentioned this for the COVID, and something that we saw here in the U.S. is through the pandemic that killed a lot of these local chapters. The momentum that they had built up, the regional local chapters, the momentum they had built up, the relationships, even kind of like the rentals of like they would rent the same room, the same hotel every year. Well, now for 3 years they didn't rent that, and now someone else has that, and so it has really impacted in a negative way that regional coming together in these live scenarios and events. So what would you, what kind of advice would you give? What lessons have you learned maybe in coming out of that still strong and still with momentum, to continue growing this networking that's so important in our space?
Great question. I think a lot of it has to kind of center around staying engaged with the chapters. I think just because you can't meet physically doesn't mean everything stops. So sure, physical meetings are down, but there are other ways to engage. Definitely trying to keep online communities, online workshops and things like that. We tried to continue as many of the operations and activities that were happening even throughout COVID. So we had a lot of chapter meetings that were still happening. We had a lot of learning opportunities where we had vendors kind of come in and still do an online training, so people could still do these continuing education credits, because those are still important. That doesn't necessarily stop because COVID happened. So we kept the learning opportunities, and we made sure we listened to our chapter boards. So each week, MDRAO has 6 chapters across the province, and some are quite far up north and different areas. And we just want to make sure that we're meeting and touching base with them and hearing what do they want. So we can't really tell what's happening in Southern Ontario and Toronto versus Northern Ontario, and we just try to listen to them as much as we can, scheduling calls and making sure that we don't lose contact, because it's very easy to kind of just put your phone down and say, okay, it's COVID, I'm not doing anything anymore. But we want to stay engaged and make sure we hear what all our members are saying. And then hopefully we did a good job. We're coming out of pandemic now, but we had a test run of a conference last year, and it was highly attended.
Wonderful.
That was very interesting because there was a closure. I think you couldn't even do large scale events. I think 2 weeks before our conference, we weren't even sure it was going to happen. But we had good attendance there, and it kind of inspired us to keep going and really try our hand at a normal sized large scale event this year. So.
Yeah, because we kind of lucked out, didn't we? Because of our conferences being every 2 years, we lucked out, and we were able to have that one in the spring. But yeah, like it was like a month before, and we went through like this whole can't have more than 100 people in a room, can't have more than 50 people in a room. It was a headache. So right before, we were good to go. And I think we only had a couple of people drop out because they were a little bit worried about COVID and stuff. Mm-hmm. But
so as we wrap up here, I know we've got some kind of surprises maybe on what it is Beyond Clean is going to be doing at y'all's event. So we'll keep that a little bit secret for right now. But one question that I wanted to leave maybe with you, Stacey, is for anyone else around Canada who's tuning in and maybe their province isn't as active as yours is, or maybe as organized, but they want to get it going. They want to get involved. They want to see the momentum. that y'all have built up in your area. Where would you turn them? What would you encourage them with? What are some things that you would say, hey, like, start here, maybe keep doing this, that you've seen be successful in your experience?
Well, our biggest mission in Ontario, like I said, is to provide best practice in education across the nation. So I would say if you want to begin, and like each chapter does have something, but if they find there's not enough engagement, reach out. That's what we're here for. Like, we're at the end of the day, we're all a team. We're all here for one purpose. It is to educate, promote patient safety. Reach out. We could help with tools. We can maybe even do a virtual call, maybe a visit if Ryan lets us. So signs off on that. But honestly, reach out. We have lots of tips. We have lots of advice to help build that community.
Awesome.
Taking a page out of Beyond Clean's book is that there are people in the communities everywhere.
Lots of people. Yeah.
And I encourage kind of to touch on what Stacey said is just there are other people in your province that have your same issues, same problems, same wants, same motivations, and just try to build a community because there are MDR provincial associations throughout the country, and try to get in touch with them, and we have good partnerships with most of them, and just see what you can do because there are other people that want to do what you're doing, and that's one of the lessons I learned from Beyond Clean. It's just galvanizing them together and pointing them in the right direction.
Yeah, and for the most part, we have connections from East Coast to West Coast in Canada. So we can 100% set them up with who they need to be set up with and divert them to watch the Beyond Clean podcasts and YouTube videos for educational purposes.
Right. Well, and the new series of Canadian videos we'll have here soon.
Absolutely. So, and the new series of Canadian videos that are TBA. Yes.
Love it.
But that's one thing I want. Sorry, go ahead. That's one thing I wanted to say to your Beyond Clean team is you guys deserve a huge pat on the back for shining the spotlight on the MDR technicians because I feel before you guys became such an advocate and a voice, there was not much spotlight on this particular job. So kudos to you guys and the team.
Thank you. Thanks again. I'm not sure why you have to go across the pond to UK before Canada. We'll talk about that later.
So far.
It's, like we're still, since the Revolutionary War, we still got those tight bonds, but we won the war. But
You got that back. Yeah.
I appreciate y'all. Number one, for the invite and the reach out, as I said at the beginning of the show. That means the world to us, that you believe in us, that you see the vision, and that you want to collaborate in this way. So we are pumped. We're going to do it up big in Canada. It's going to be a ton of fun. So anybody within flying distance, which is anyone in the world.
Absolutely.
Mark your calendar now, September 22nd through the 24th. And we got the link in this post, that conference link that Ryan mentioned, so you can go check out the other sessions, get the registration information, register quickly because I'm assuming you don't have unlimited seats. So make sure and get in as soon as you can. And, for anyone, again, across Canada who's curious about what this event looks like and how you do it, come to the event. That way you can see in person, you can network in person. There's no better way to learn about how to put on something like this than actually go there yourself. So I really encourage that. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, especially go connect with these folks on LinkedIn and continue the conversation, ask some questions. And most importantly, again, please keep fighting dirty out there every single day.
Absolutely.
In all of your hospitals. And with that, I want to thank you again. And we're going to
thank you.
Wrap this up, and we'll see you in September.
Great. Can't wait. See you then.